Hello and welcome to Bass in the Crowd podcast, episode 9. This time we're chatting to James Hart, frontman from legendary OC metalcore band 18 Visions and also Burn Halo.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Brilliant.
Just woken up, haven't you?
Yeah. No, it's 12 noon here, so I've been up for almost 7 hours.
Oh, fair play. Wow.
Yeah.
You get up pretty early.
Yeah. I have a routine, so I'm up early, have my coffee for an hour and a half, hang out with my wife before she goes to work, and then I head off to the gym.
Fair play.
So that's my Monday and Tuesday, and then the rest of the week is a little earlier for me. So I go into work in the salon and stuff. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I've done a full day's work today. This is like we've relaxed a bit now, haven't we, Hobo?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
Preparing and going through stuff. We've just had the Inferno EP on again. I might add.
Awesome.
Mate, we need to get hold of the vinyl. How can we do it?
Oh, he's straight on it.
Oh, you do? You don't have it?
No.
We tried to get the silver and red, the first issue one. It's like £77 online or something. We can't get it.
What?
It's crazy.
That's wild. Might have a couple left. I will check.
Hey, that's cool.
We can PayPal you, man.
I will check.
Oh, top man.
I've been listening to it at work every day for 2 weeks now. No word of a lie, and I'm blown away by it.
Awesome.
We're not here to obviously kiss your ass, but I just love it. I love it. I think it's astounding.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear feedback like that from people that we're not in contact with on a daily basis. So I mean, for us, are we rolling here? We're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling. Yeah.
As soon as we come on, we're rolling.
So for us, it's obviously important for us to like it, and I think doing this ourselves, like self-funded, everything has given us this freedom and like relaxation about it that we haven't had in a really long time. So it's purely for fun for us. We're not out, touring a bunch, trying to make a ton of new fans, trying to make a living off it. So it's pure hobby. And when it's pure hobby, everything is just, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about pleasing this person or that person. So our pleasure comes first with the music and writing it. And then when we have our friends tell us that they really like it, then most of our friends have pretty good taste in music. So that means a lot to us. And then, it just kind of trickles on down, journalists and whatnot, people that like critique music and, guys like you that have your own shows and you host, musical icons and guests and, all the way down to the fans. It's great to hear. So yeah, the feedback's been great.
Yeah. The fact that you've done that EP off your own back. And I mean, to me, it sounds like someone's majorly got behind you and you just released your masterpiece sort of thing. It's outstanding work. It's like, this is the way you should go. That Inferno EP is the way you should go. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Is there any plans for more EPs or a full-length album or anything like that?
Well, we definitely want to keep making music.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it is strictly a hobby for us gives us the luxury and the flexibility to kind of work at our own pace. And, we don't have the pressure on us to do anything. And we're not really doing much else, outside of our careers as far as like music or like, any other side gigs. So, it's really easy for us to do. Keith is producing, engineering, mixing, mastering, everything. So, we don't have studio time. We record, he's either recording at his house and then we record vocals in our rehearsal space, which is at Trevor's house. So everything's just super easy. So I can guarantee you there's going to be more music. I just don't know what or when. Yeah.
Oh, so good to know.
That's really good.
I've turned Perks here onto you guys, but I've listened. Well, I first got into you guys. I think Tower of Snakes or something like that was on like a free CD with like Rock Sound or something in the UK.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was on. I think it was on a DVD, and it was the video. And it took my breath away. Like the second I heard it, and I worked back through obviously the whole of the back catalogue, and just a great band. You know, tick every box for me.
Awesome.
This man got me into Avenged Sevenfold about 10 years ago as well.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Which I love, and we finally saw them at Headline Download, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. What's the
Okay.
scene like out there now? Is there still quite a big music scene going?
Well, I mean, right now there's not much of anything going.
No, obviously,
to be honest with you, you know, and we are our community, our music community here, our hardcore scene, metalcore scene is kind of coming together right now for something super important. So one of the venues that we all came up, you know, playing at and going to shows, I've played legendary gigs there. I've gone to legendary gigs there. It's called Chain Reaction, and it's in Anaheim, California, pretty close to Disneyland. And anybody's played there. You know, we came up there, Throwdown, Thrice, Avenged Sevenfold. Everybody's got their start at this place. And so it's in jeopardy of, you know, going under just due to all this. So our band is working with a company out here run by two of my friends called Violent Gentlemen. And they are like a hockey inspired like clothing line, and they do really, really well in the US and Canada. They've got like NHL support and stuff like that. So it's they're a fairly good sized small company, I should say. And they are working on doing co-op collaboration merch with some bands in Chain Reaction to help raise proceeds so that the place doesn't shut down. So we got Terror, Stick to Your Guns, Knocked Loose, and I think Counterparts just did a shirt, and they sold out of that. We're doing a collab shirt with Throwdown. Violent Gentlemen did their own collab with Chain Reaction, and we're just trying to raise all this money. So I would say, in terms of that, the scene is really, really strong still. You know, in terms of like the smaller level of things, and it's really great to see all these bands coming together to try to save this like legendary spot. Our other legendary venue out here closed down, maybe 10 years ago or so, maybe even more, called the Showcase Theater.
Okay.
That was where a lot of other legendary hardcore bands from Southern California came up, and, you know, just, you know, metal and hardcore bands. I saw Cannibal Corpse there, you know, AFI before they were anybody. Everybody's played there. So.
No, that's a real shame, isn't it? You know,
say that.
Yeah, you've got like venues closing down all over the place, like in the UK as well.
We lost
like,
the Astoria in London, which was a killer venue.
Yeah, that was a while ago, right?
Yeah, that was a long time.
Yeah.
The best venue.
Yeah,
I know. I loved that place, and the Fiddler too. It was upstairs, right?
Mean Fiddler, yeah. I saw you at the Mean Fiddler. I don't know what year it was, what tour it was. It was, you know, it's a long time ago, but you know, it was fantastic.
Yeah, we've had some legendary gigs in London for sure.
Yeah, it's a great city. It's good fun. I mean, you know, like I say, there's not much going on there at the moment. But
right. That's that's everywhere though. That's everywhere.
Yeah. It's affecting musicians so bad, isn't it? You know, it's really hard times, man.
Yeah, it's a common theme on the podcasts. People, you know, dying to get out there and play again. Especially with the new material. We spoke to a few people with new material, like yourselves. You probably can't wait to play that live.
Yeah, it's the bummer. You know, we actually, before we had a release date for this even, and before we were in, I think the like the post-production side of it, and like the creating the vinyl and the artwork and the merchandise, we had about 8 gigs lined up for May and June. Right when this thing kind of hit, and we were going to do 4 California gigs and 4 on the East Coast, and we had some really cool like live show concepts musically that we were going to roll with, and you know, we just had to put it on the back burner. And then of course we wanted to do, you know, release gigs around the EP, which is not going to happen. So I mean, it's a bummer for, you know, everyone. I mean, for us, because we never play, so we don't play often. So when we get an opportunity to play, it's like, it's so fun for us, you know, to get out there together and do that. But you know, really for the bands that make a living off of it, one of our guitar players, Josh, that plays in Stick to Your Guns full times, you know, he's dealing with it right now, and I'm, you know, every other band under the sun is trying to cope and find ways to, you know, work around this. Yeah,
you see, like a lot of the live streams seems to be quite a big thing now, doesn't it? And and some of them go really well. I was saying the other day, it's quite cool for some bands, because we spoke to a band who'd done their first live stream, and they had like 1,200 people in there,
Yeah, which is great.
You wouldn't, a lot of bands wouldn't get that in a venue anyway. So, it's quite cool that, you can sell these tickets and you get people in watching it live. I know it's not the same for the audience.
No. And that's something we're looking at doing too, which would be cool for us in general, because like I said, because we don't play often, we're not doing touring. It's just, 4 gigs in a weekend. We fly out, play 4 shows, come home. We have fans all over the world that will never get the opportunity to see us. And so I think that the live stream presents that cool chance to connect with them on that level.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have still got a massive fan base. You can see that. You look on like Facebook groups and stuff like that, and you guys are always mentioned. There's a lot of people who still love your stuff.
Cool. You did the This Is Hardcore, the film, didn't you? 2018. Was that Philadelphia?
Yeah.
That's an awesome piece of film, isn't it? That really high. Yeah,
that's the last show we've actually played.
Wow.
Was that the last show?
Yeah.
No way. You haven't played since that.
No, so we're just we're absolutely dying,
Yeah.
Oh man, I was going to say to you, like, when you play again, you're going to do a This Is Hardcore 2 with the Inferno tracks, because that would be something awesome, wouldn't it?
I'll play anywhere right now. I'll play in the garden.
That's what Rex said, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's so true as well. Just the chance to play. Like, we could do a gig here, but we're only allowed 6 people in the garden. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Facing the Crowd podcast. What we always ask is, what was your first gig that you went to?
My first gig that I went to. Yeah, so it was a hardcore band called 108. That was the spawn of Shelter.
Okay.
That was in Long Beach, and I saw another like legendary like Orange County band called Mean Season there. They were very, very different than what a lot of bands were doing. They sounded like almost like a heavy, like slower Slayer, Metallica, with like cleaner-ish type vocals. And for the mid 90s, nobody was really doing that around here. But that was my first gig. I think that was in like 94. I had to have been just turned 15 or something. Yeah.
108 first gig. Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's full on hardcore.
Was that when you decided you wanted to do it?
No, not at all. It came way after that. I was in school, and a couple of my straight edge, like hardcore friends had, they played music, and there's this kid in my class who I have no idea what he's up to now, but he played guitar, and we all like the same music. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to sing in this band?" And I was like, "Sure." I'd never done it before. And that band ended up turning into 18 Visions later on down the road. I would say like after a year of just kind of like, fooling around in the garage and like hashing through different guys that wanted to play and different members, it ended up evolving into 18 Visions. Yeah.
Okay. So the first gig you actually played, was that with that band, or was that 18 Visions?
Yeah, that was with 18 Visions. Cool. Yeah. Well, how did you feel? We weren't called 18 Visions yet. Right. But it was 18 Visions. It was like the members of, we played at a roller skating rink in Huntington Beach, and they were having some hardcore shows there on occasion. And it was cool. I was super, super nervous, and I forgot, I think, half the words to the songs. But I mean, I was 15 years old, and it was great. And then it just, progressively got a little bit better. And then I would say a few years later, it got a lot better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Christ.
When did you realize you actually had the power in that voice? When did you think, actually, I have got the power to front something of, this magnitude, this sort of hardcore metal vocal that you actually, you portray? Like, when did you think, hang on, I've actually got this voice, I can do this?
Yeah, I think it was when we were probably like writing and recording like the Lifeless EP. That had to have been in like 96. As far as like my clean vocals go, I always was able to sing along in the car to different rock bands. I was very, very much into like mid 80s, like rock and like Guns N' Roses and Skid Row, and then it progressed into, you know, Metallica, Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots and stuff like that. But I was also listening to like Depeche Mode and Duran Duran, stuff that you could sing along to. And I found that I was able to sing along in key and on the Until the Ink Runs Out album, that we tried tinkering with some clean vocals a little bit, and then, you know, kind of doing more and more and more from there, and then taking vocal training later on during Obsession and the 2006 self-titled release. And I think then too, the vocal lessons really helped me gain a lot of power behind my scream as well. It really put me kind of in touch with what my voice and my body was doing, and gave me even more power behind it. But yeah, I think I just was, I don't know, I got in a room with my friends and just started screaming and wanted to sound like Pantera and Sepultura.
Yeah. Oh, mate. Yeah. That's what we all wanted to sound like back then, when everyone wanted to be, you know, right there with them. Yeah,
I couldn't talk for probably a week after every band practice, you know.
Right. It was
just pretty terrible. But
until you got the technique down, and then you sort of, I suppose it's easier.
Yeah, you start to figure it out. You know, you figure out what you're doing and how to create different tones, and you know what you're doing wrong, and then the vocal lessons really later on down the road really helped me kind of put it all together.
Sure. Yeah.
I guess as you move on throughout the album, throughout the years, you just get more and more confident with it, don't you? I suppose. And the more shows you do, the more, you know, confident you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you're young, I mean, when you're recording music at like 16 years old, you know, you want to sound like yourself, but you also like have like your impressions that have been left on you by, you know, other singers or guitar players or drummers that you idolize. And it's not until you get a little bit older that you start to take those influences and actually kind of make your own thing out of it. Right.
Yeah. Who are your top influences?
Yeah. For me vocally, I mean, it's, you know, Lane Staley, Chris Cornell, Scott Weiland. Those are like legendary. Axl Rose, legendary vocalists for me. You know, in the rock world. In the metal world, At the Gates was great. Obviously Phil Anselmo was, you know, top notch at being able to do, you know, the screaming and the clean vocals. Yeah. So I would say those are the guys that like I kind of tried to you know, mold myself after.
Oh yeah, no, that's cracking. Yeah. I mean, are you a Down fan as well?
No, not as much.
No, not more, just the more heavier.
Yeah.
We interviewed Rex a couple of months ago, and do you know what? He was such a nice guy to talk to, and he was just so down to earth, and he spoke about the whole of Pantera's career. You know, he was really sort of honest and quite brutal in places, but it was great chatting to him.
I'll tell you what, Reinventing the Steel is a highly underrated album.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That's coming out again, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah,
he was talking
January,
about,
I think, on vinyl.
He'd had the whole thing remixed by Terry Date.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it just doesn't get the love that it should.
No, it was a fantastic album, and he said at the time that was probably the album they enjoyed recording more than anything else. Funnily enough.
I mean, it shows. It's a good one.
I was going to ask you, James. We're from Southend-on-Sea in Essex. About 45 minutes from London. I don't know if you've heard of Southend-on-Sea at all.
Yeah.
But we've got we had a hardcore scene here in Southend, and I don't know if it reached you guys at all, but you know, in the 90s, we had like bands called Above All and Cynical Smile and Understand, and they're like Southend hardcore bands. And we got you know, bands that formed after that. Because of those bands, like, we have Raiden, Death Skulls, and I don't know if they've reached you at all. If you've ever heard any of these bands, but we had
Understand sounds familiar for sure.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Because all these bands, they're all getting back together. They've all decided to get all these Southend hardcore bands back together, and they're going to do a big show next year.
Awesome. That sounds super
If we
cool.
can. If we
Right?
can.
Right?
They're going to do this show in Southend. And I just wondered if you'd heard of any of our Southend hardcore. Obviously, they're awesome. We love them.
Mm-hmm.
What's a band from the UK right now that I was, gosh, I can't think of their name. I'm gonna look on my phone right now because I got them on my phone somewhere. But anyways, yeah, there's a little bit that comes over, not a ton. I think most of the European stuff that we get acquainted with comes from Sweden for some odd reason. I'm not sure what it is with Sweden, but they they crank out a lot of great bands. I do love Oasis though, I will say.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, they can write a good song, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, they're not obviously. Somebody should start an Oasis hardcore cover band.
Oh my God, that is such a good idea. Why has nobody done that?
I don't know. I feel like it would go off pretty well. Higher Power, that's the band.
I love Higher Power.
Yeah.
From Leeds. Yeah, I think the first album, Soul Structure, I believe.
Yeah, so that reminds me of a band from the mid-'90s here, early mid-'90s called Into Another.
Yeah.
Revelation Records band. It reminds me of that a little bit. Super, super cool. Love it.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No, they're a great band. Yeah. I regularly listen to both their albums. I think
we were going to go and see them in Download, but Download got cancelled.
Yeah. You played Download, right?
They are on the bill for next year. Yeah, 2006 you played, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Yeah, it was great.
You was quite high up the bill. Was you in the tent?
Yeah, we were in the tent. Yeah. Pretty high on the bill.
Because there's some footage of that online, isn't there? It was absolutely rammed. You guys, it looked absolutely awesome, that gig. Was it amazing? What can you remember of the day?
So I remember just the tent, and it was just massive, and I wasn't expecting that size crowd. We were doing a lot of press. I can't remember if it was that day or the following day that Guns N' Roses played.
Mm-hmm.
And I call that version of Guns N' Roses Axl and Friends.
Yeah, we were there. We saw them that day.
I thought it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I love them. I feel like Axl can't really do much wrong. I love Chinese Democracy.
Do you know what? There's not me. I've never spoken to anyone apart from you who love Chinese Democracy, but I love it as well.
Yeah,
I want
to say Better is probably a top 10 Guns N' Roses song for me.
Yeah.
There was a time. Totally. There was a time.
Yeah,
there's so many good tracks on there.
Yeah, there really is. And it's just like, I try to tell people, man, you can't go in expecting a Guns N' Roses album. It's not. No. It's called Guns N' Roses, but musically, it's not. It's Axl's voice on some really killer songwriting and guitar playing.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
It's a shame that the day you played, when Axl did play with his gang, they were getting like bottles thrown at them and stuff, and the guitar player was getting really pissed off, and he was like, if you keep throwing bottles, we're just not even going to play.
Yeah,
and everyone was chanting slash 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 slash. I remember it clearly.
I think it's because they were fooling around with the new shit, and then nobody knew it, and they were pissed off, and they came out and they started ripping stuff off Appetite, and everybody was fine.
Yeah, and the guitarist come out.
100% what happened.
The guitarist come out and he played like a Christina Aguilera song or something, and everyone was like, "What's going on? This isn't Guns N' Roses."
But you can't get the unbelievable Donovan crowd, mate. Even if they're bottling, you've got to just be like, oh shit.
Yeah. We've all seen what happens when Guns N' Roses cancel shows halfway through, haven't we? There's been riots and all sorts of stuff. But I love Axl. I've got a soft spot for him, and
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the first band that got me into music, really, I suppose. Before that, I was kind of into Michael Jackson, and that was it. I was only a kid.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you never ran into him when you were a kid.
Very good point. Very good point.
Who's taking photos of me? I'll stop him, God damn it! And he just jumps in the crowd and he starts smacking him.
Yeah.
You know, I love his music. It's great, right? And I'll never change the radio when a Michael Jackson song comes on. But I can't stop and help but think about all of the shit that surrounds who he is and what he did.
Yeah.
And same thing goes for like a Lost Prophets song. Unfortunately, you know, it's like such a great band, so many good songs. Want to listen to the music, but you know, just
I couldn't listen to him. I can't listen to him now.
Yeah, it just tears you apart. You know, you can't do it, and it's unfortunate for the rest of the guys in that band because they're all
really
great.
is.
Yeah.
Although that project they did with Jeff Rickley, I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you listen to that?
Yeah.
That was all right. That was kind of like had a kind of Depeche Mode kind of feel to it, and it was quite chilled, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Mike, he's up in LA too. So
I've not heard it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good stuff.
Shinobi Ninja Dragon track house.
Do you know what they played? They played in our hometown, and I used to work at this venue called Chinnery's, which is like our big venue in Southend. And Lost Prophets came and played, and I shook his hand. He bought me a beer. He seemed like such a nice guy. It's crazy, isn't it?
I think we did 4 tours with them. Yeah. So they were partially responsible for our growth in the UK. You know, they took us out on an arena tour on the Obsession album, and we kind of, you know, I don't want to say we blew up over there, but for us, like it was almost like overnight. You know, we did that tour and then went back over a couple months later and headlined, and everything was sold out way before we even got there. And it was
amazing.
A lot of it was due to that tour.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a shame, you know. It's just to think that someone can be like that, but and hide it so well for so long. But,
So James, when the Orange County scene blew up, and with Avenge and everything, and you guys were part of it, and the trail and all that. I mean, what was the vibe like that? It must have been so exciting for everyone to get recognised as bands and people getting so into the individual bands and supporting you guys. That must have been so awesome.
I suppose it's kind of like similar to like the whole grunge thing as well. Like when that blew up, like everyone was focusing on any band from Seattle, etc.
Yeah, it's super cool. Obviously, like locally, you know, all the shows were massive. Any band played by themselves, and it just got to a point where it was so big, and we never really pushed the limits of trying to play like much bigger venues than what we were. I think they were, you know, capped at like, well, back then before the fire and safety laws and the capacity laws, they were cramming 700-800 people into a 400 capacity club, and everything was just, you know, everybody was so tight, and it was just sweaty and gross and fucking awesome. And every band could play on their own and draw, you know, 1,000 kids if they wanted to.
Yeah,
you know, that was great here.
You know,
but I think what was awesome was just what you said, the desire from other parts of the country, especially back east, where it was just like people were salivating for like Orange County, like metalcore. It was just like this own thing. The bands were kind of touring together, at least the bands that like kind of got along were touring together. And, you know, just you package 2 or 3 Orange County bands on a tour, and every show in the country is going to be great.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, there were so many bands around, wasn't there? And it's crazy to think, really. I mean, you guys are my favourite.
He was straight on you. He was like, I've got to get James on here. And you did.
Yeah, I'm so pleased it's happened, you know.
Yeah. Awesome. I think the hardest part about playing shows with each other was, you know, Avenged. I grew up with Avenged. I went to high school with those guys. But they had a very different fan base and crowd that they brought into the shows. And then same thing with Atreyu. Atreyu had very different fan base and crowd that they brought into the shows. So it was kind of like trying to merge these jock type like metal fans with like proper, like hardcore kids, and like not having there be any like tension or any fights. And I think that was the hard part at first, is getting everybody's like fans to kind of get along.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, you just never would think about that, would you?
No.
I mean, only if you're actually in one of the bands performing, you actually even think about how the fans are going to gel.
Yeah.
So that's
crazy.
It's an interesting factor, but that actually was a thing. You actually had to worry about how these fans are going to get on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
It crossed my mind.
It was different, you know. It's like a Slayer show or a Pantera show. You got your proper like real true metalheads, and then you've got like, you know, some of the jocks that kind of found out about it that are you know, a little bit more, you know, I want to throw my weight around in the pit, and like I want to be a tough guy, and so there was quite a bit of that going on in the early stages.
Wow, cool. That's cool.
Did you ever see any? Did you ever, you know, feel like you needed to jump off that stage and sort something out, or did you just hope that the security could deal with it, or did it just fizzle out?
It happened one time in Germany. Yeah. Germany. Yep. We were in Mannheim. Right. And our tour manager, who actually manages our band now, along with like Every Time I Die and Circus Survival, but he manages a bunch of bands now. But he was in the pit, and like I think he hit somebody on accident, and I saw somebody getting ready to go after him. They were winding up, and I just dove. I feel like I flew off the stage and just like clocked the guy and laid him out. And yeah, it was not good, because we were on tour with Throwdown, and Throwdown still had to play, and it was just a lot of tension. A lot of people were pissed off, and
oh no,
yeah.
But you all got through it. You all played.
Yeah, but I got to protect my own, you know.
That's it, mate. That's it. Yeah. You know,
that was the Axel in you, wasn't it, James?
Yeah. Yes.
You're just like, I'll stop that photographer.
Yeah. But then, you know, it can all go completely wrong. You know, look what happened to Randy. You know, from Lamb of God. You know, Christ.
Yeah.
Similar thing, but it's similar thing to what you've just told us. But he ended up in prison, didn't he?
I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Thankfully, this was in like 2001, I think, or 2002. It was early on. It was early on.
Yeah. Like you say, you got to look after your own, though, you know.
For sure.
I've never understood why people go to see a show by a band they really like and can get aggressive, like against the band, and throw stuff at the band, all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Every time I've been to see a band, it's because I really like them and I kind of idolize them. I wouldn't want to throw stuff at them. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of. But you know the old bottles of piss at Donington, all that kind of stuff. That's one thing. But like going into a pit and hitting people just for the sake of it, I don't know. It's a bit.
It happens. It happens a lot.
Yeah, especially you know, obviously with your type of music as well. You do have big pits at the front and people swinging their arms and feet about. You get that, don't you? Sometimes you're going to get a DM in the face.
Yep. And then it's the mixture of scenes. It's you know, the hardcore like metalcore kids and like they're dancing like mosh pit style versus like, you know, your traditional metal kid, and they're not used to this, and like what's going on? I just got hit, and like now I need to fight, and yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, usually there's alcohol involved with a lot of these gigs as well, isn't there? So people act differently, don't they, under the influence, as it were. Yeah, crazy.
The moment in the mosh pit where I actually thought, hang on, I might be in trouble here, was Sepultura, Donington 94, Chaos AD tour, obviously. It was Sepultura, Pantera, Aerosmith, and Therapy. That was my first Donington. I spoke about it before. But we were in the middle of, right in the middle near the front of the Sepultura mosh pit, me and my pals. And honestly, it was like I'd gone to war. Do you know what I mean? When Sepultura started playing, there's no camera phones then. Do you know what I mean? No one gave a shit about anything other than Sepultura on that stage. And it went off like like, I don't know how many people were in that mosh pit, but just thousands of people losing their shit at once. And I was in it, and I was just like, we was pushed over, like, so your dad, like, when you were pushed over, it wasn't just you, it'd be like 50, 100 people were pushed over, they go to one side, all fall down, then that 100 people around them would pull that 100 people up, and you go to the other side.
Yeah.
You know, absolute carnage. You don't even see pits like that or gigs. You see them circles of death and the wall of death things. I ain't going to take no respect away from them because they are brutal. That reminds me of the first Donington was, when that wall. But that was the one. Chaos AD, Donington 94, Sepultura. I actually thought, I've maybe have to get out of here after a few songs.
Reminds me of the first Slayer or the first Ozfest. Reminds me of the first Ozfest.
Yeah.
Did it just go off crazy the first Ozfest?
Yeah. It was bonkers. Yeah.
Who played that one?
I think that was
Ozzy.
I think it was Slayer. I think Sepultura, Sabbath. I'm trying to think of who else was on that one. It was a big one, but it was during Slayer. Yeah, it's a bunch of like white power dudes, and
really?
Yeah, we never got on well with them, for obvious reasons. But yeah.
So that was a brutal pit during Slayer then.
Yeah.
Did you ever like getting involved in the pit, or do you prefer sort of standing back watching the bands?
Me? No, man, I'm 41 now, so I'm just enjoying the show.
No, I mean, what about back then?
Oh, yeah, yes.
You're a bit more feisty.
Absolutely. No, I wasn't feisty, but like, I mean, just you look out for your own.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
So, yeah, I was always in the pit for sure.
Nice.
Singing along, stage dives, all of it.
That's what it's about, right? It's great that music can do that to you, That's
absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Let's hope it can do it again, eh?
Yeah, let's hope it can do it again. So
hope we see someone live.
Yeah, at some point, without having to be in a bubble or something. Did you see that? Who was it?
Yeah.
What band was it? What are they called? Flaming Lips.
It was a Flaming Lips. Yes.
I've seen them perform in bubbles. They've been doing that for years, but all of a sudden, all the audience are in bubbles. It's like, wow, that's something else.
Yeah, I mean, 20 people, right? Maybe. Yeah. I mean, how many people can you get in there with a bubble? But that's cool. That's their thing, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in the bubble, but
no. I've done it on a stag do. Like, what do you call them in America? Are they still stag do's? Bachelor parties. I did.
Oh yeah.
And it was football, and it was basically me in this big bubble, and just my legs sticking out the bottom, and everyone was just running at me, and I was just spinning, and it wasn't very pleasant.
Oh.
Wasn't very pleasant.
You threw up all over yourself, man.
Very close. Very close.
Flaming Lips at Reading Festival.
Did you? Yeah.
Whole set.
Yeah. Were they in bubbles?
In the tent. No, they wasn't. No.
James, what out of your entire catalogue, what is the album that still means more to you than anything else?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
We put him on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, they all mean different things for different reasons. I would say, Until the Ink Runs Out, really, we felt like we had something like really, really cool on our hands. And it really, I think at that point kind of put the band on the map a little bit. Not just like nationally, but internationally as well. Even though we weren't internationally touring yet, we started to get a lot of recognition that way. So that one sticks with me a lot. Even the self-title from 2016, I think, some of our is, very, very different type of album, but some of my favorite songs on
that record. I thought it was a fantastic record.
I'll even go with the other band I had after 18 Visions for a while, Burn Halo, and the second album I did, Up From the Ashes. Might be like from front to back my favorite piece of music I've recorded. So
fantastic. Yeah, I mean, again, I've got all three albums and I think they're great. And it's really weird, like how much that crosses over to different people. Because I remember, like when it came out, my cousin, who's never expressed any interest in rock music whatsoever suddenly posted one of your videos on Facebook, and I was like, do you like these guys? And she was like, yeah, I love it, you know. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I never ever would have thought for a second that you'd be interested in anything like that. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, you know.
Yeah, it's weird finding, like, I was working, so I work in a hair salon, and one of the girls that was working there a couple years ago, she was talking about this song, and I was like, oh, like, I was like, are you making fun of me? Like, are you teasing me about it? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, are you teasing me about that song? And she's like, I don't understand what you mean. And I was like, well, because I wrote that song. And she's like, no, you didn't. And I was like, yeah, I did. I think it was Dirty Little Girl off the first Burn Halo album. And she's just like, no, that's not you. And then she got on her phone and Googled, and she's like, okay, fucking that's weird.
Awkward.
So that was like one of the runs ever. Yeah.
That's such a great story.
Yeah.
I mean, what's all the people who work in the salon with you? Do they all know what you do, though, right? You know, they know about the bands and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they do now, anyway.
Yeah.
It must be kind of. Is there anybody you work with there who are like into the same music as you, or?
Yeah. So one of my close friends just left the salon, and he's somewhere else now. But I grew up. So I went to beauty school with him over 20 years ago, and he's like a massive like metal hardcore fan. So, you know, we'll go to gigs together on occasion. So he's into it. Otherwise, at my salon specifically, that's about it. But I know there's quite a few metal and hardcore fans that are in the industry.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, do you enjoy your day job? Is it? You know,
I love it.
That's so good. It's so good that you enjoy what you do. You know.
Yeah.
It's good to have something else.
Yeah. It's like you live in this kind of like not secret life, but like you couldn't imagine two things completely different.
So I mean, I make my own schedule. You know, I run my own business, make my own schedule. I work 4 days a week, sometimes 5 if I want to or if I need to. And I leave my work at work. You know, I drive in, I see my clients, I come home, I don't stress about it, I don't worry about it. It provides much more stability, like emotionally, financially, than a band would. Yeah. And that's what's great about it, is because I'm my own boss and I make my own schedule. I have the freedom to, you know, go out and play shows and still have the band as a hobby and not need to rely on it for finances or income. And it's just pure joy for me. So, yeah.
No, that's so cool. It's so cool.
I bet they thought they were going to lose you to a few gigs, and then obviously this COVID thing, and they thought, oh, we still got him.
No, I don't think they're not worried about losing me in there for sure. They know it's like the band thing is just very, very part-time. And
you got to come to the UK again, though.
I want to very badly,
because we want to see you play.
even if it's just for one London gig.
Yeah.
Have Download approached you for next year? Come on, spin it.
No,
why not?
What the fuck? Have they not approached you for that?
No. Maybe we'll approach them.
Needs to be heard.
Maybe we got to approach them. We'll see.
There's still a few slots on that bill. I've noticed.
I'm gonna email Andy Coppin. I'm gonna tell him.
You need these guys. He'll probably ignore us, but you know.
Hey, do it.
I mean, he hasn't.
I can't believe he hasn't approached you. You guys smash it.
Yeah, and you haven't been there since 2006, right? So
yeah,
it's time to come back.
Come back, kids.
It's got to be done. I'm going to email him.
Do it.
Didn't you play the Hellfest California a couple of years ago? Was that right?
It was not
Ozfest thing.
It was that was awesome. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Any stories from that then? What was that like? Was that a day thing? That must have been the whole weekend.
It was. Yeah, it was. I think it was just the day. Yeah, it was great. Manson was a mess, but he had just suffered an injury.
Oh, was that when the thing fell on him?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. It looked nasty.
Yeah,
that was wild. Yeah. So, and I hadn't seen Rob Zombie since I think we played a festival with Rob Zombie in 2006, I think, and he was great. And then you know, fast forward over 10 years later, and that dude is still just like at the top of his game.
Yeah.
I mean, just peak performer, just awesome, just such a great show, great band.
Really?
Yeah, we saw them last year, didn't we?
Yeah, we saw them headline the second stage.
Absolutely killer.
Yeah,
so good. So you must have loved that. Were you on the Hellfest bit or the Ozfest bit? Because it was sort of split in two bills, wasn't it?
We were on the. It was weird. We were on the Knotfest one.
Right, the Knotfest.
Yeah, that I think maybe Deftones played the next day or the next weekend. I'm not really. I don't really remember, but I don't think either. Did Black Sabbath play? I know Slipknot didn't. However, Stone Sour played on our day. Yeah.
Cool.
What do you make of the Deftones album? I think it's wonderful.
I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. I listened to a couple songs. It's cool, you know. There's going to be stuff on there I like, you know.
Yeah.
I think start to finish, the last album I truly love from start to finish is probably White Pony.
Yeah, great
and
album.
Around the Fur. That's the stuff I grew up on. You know, I've legitimately been a Deftones fan since day one.
Yeah.
I was at our local record store and they were giving out 3-song cassettes of the Deftones. I got it. I was like, this is incredible.
Wow.
Went to the very first Warped Tour ever, and they played the small stage, and they were just one of the bands that I was just so excited to see. And then they dropped the full length, and I absolutely love that. So there's something on every Deftones album that I love, a few songs. But White Pony was really like the last one that from front to back that I love.
Yeah. And you know, you might not listen to it for a year or whatever, and then you whack it on, and it just brings back so many feelings, doesn't it? It's an incredible album.
For me, it's the first two albums. I just love the first two albums. I saw them twice on the Round the Fur tour in the UK. Will Haven supported them. I've got the ticket on my on our Insta. And another, I saw them at the London Arena. I saw them about 3 times actually. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
I saw him supporting Perfect Circle, and Chino was so drunk he just kept falling over on stage. It was horrific. It was like a car crash. And then the year after, they come back and they released that Diamond Eyes, and they played I think they played Download, and he was absolutely note perfect, and he'd lost loads of weight. He looked incredible. It's like, wow, how have you
that was when you were getting hit and miss Deftones shows. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. And obviously you had Perfect Circle, we were like perfectionists, and they come out and it was like, Christ, that's incredible.
The Perfect Circle gig before it was spot on. Man.
Yeah. What sort of stuff do you listen to these days? Are you still into like a lot of the heavier?
Yeah, so I listen to a little bit of everything. I'm in the gym 6 days a week, which is where I spend most of my time with my music. Sundays I try to reserve for like a new album, and I'll try to listen to a new album like all the way through. So my buddy Greg that sings for the Dillinger Escape Plan and the Black Queen, he just dropped a solo album that is just mind-blowing. So,
it's so good, isn't it?
Dude, it's amazing. It's crazy that you know somebody that has that sort of musical genius to them, or like can put that sort of thing out there by themselves. I mean, he wrote all of it. So
what's that called?
Child Soldier of God, I think. Yeah. It's really, really good. And then my buddy Neil plays guitar in Devil Driver. They just put a new album out, which I really, really like. He wrote most of that as well. The newer Knocked Loose album, Not So New Anymore, Code Orange, stuff like that. This morning, I think I listened to Lamb of God Wrath album, which I just, I mean, it's so good. I get on kicks where I go back to different albums a lot. So it's I'll have right now I'm on the Deftones Around the Fur, so I've been at like once a week or so. Same thing, Slayer, Divine Intervention, and then I make a lot of playlists too of bands. So I've got like a sick Alice in Chains playlist I rip a lot. a Chris Cornell one that's like everything. What's that?
Send it over to us.
Okay. I got a Chris Cornell one too that's like everything. The solo stuff, Soundgarden, Audio Slave, Temple of the Dog.
Yeah.
That one's like 2 hours. But yeah.
And that's really cutting it down as well, right?
It really, really is. Yeah, I left a couple off. I had to leave a couple off.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh God, what a voice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've been on a big Bush kick too, 16 Stone.
Yeah,
we love Bush,
yeah. Their new album was way better than I thought it was going to be. Actually, I must admit.
Yeah,
it sounds pretty cool. You know, some good songs on there. But yeah, 16 Stone's the classic, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I always have my classics I go to. In Excess, Depeche Mode, stuff like that too.
What's your favourite Ep9 album?
I mean, it's Violator. Yeah,
it has to be, doesn't it? I mean, it absolutely has to be.
It's too good.
Yeah,
I
nice.
have to say the best of Depeche Mode.
Leave the room. The best of.
Jokes.
You're a nightmare.
Oh, no. So James, we've got the last question. Normally is, what is your favourite band of all time? Let's have it right out there now. If you could only have one band to ever listen to ever again,
who would it be?
Any album that all their back catalogue, who's it going to be? Come on,
Alice in Chains.
Yeah, mine as well.
It's out there.
Mine as well.
He said it.
Yeah.
What's your favourite album by them?
It's Dirt. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. See, the Tripod album is very close for me.
Yeah.
It's very close though, and also Facelift. Oh God, I'd really.
I know. I know. They're all great. They're all great.
Oh.
I even like the new stuff. I like the stuff with the new singer's great. You know.
Yeah, it's still got that sound, doesn't it? You know, obviously Jerry Cantrell writes so much of it, so it's it's always gonna have that Alice feel. But, and his solo albums are fantastic as well.
I know they really are. Degradation Trip is like, it's a good one.
Oh yeah, no,
I can't live without that band for sure.
That's so cool.
I was watching actually the weekend. Cobain, Montage of Heck. Have you seen that documentary?
Yeah. No.
It's on Sky. I don't know if you guys even have Sky. They've got loads of footage in it of Kurt and Courtney in their apartment and tons of stuff. All of Kurt's journals, and they put it all together, and Chris Novoselic talks on it, and I know this is obviously Nirvana, but I thought it was really good. Really
interesting.
Good. It was like 2 hours long, but I was like gripped watching the whole thing. It's like the full story from start to finish at Nirvana.
Yeah. I mean, were you a Nirvana fan?
Yeah. Yes. I like Nirvana. Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't say they were as musically coherent or advanced as Alice in Chains, but I mean they were like different
but
band,
they had that rawness to them.
Yeah.
You know, they had more of the danger element to them.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, which was super, super cool. But they're not as, like, I don't put them over obviously Alice in Chains or for me Soundgarden as well. And a lot of it just has to do with the vocals, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd take Nevermind over any of them albums.
Yeah. No, Nevermind's great.
I'd take Desert Island with me.
Would you? Yeah, well, nice. Alice in Chains, that's Alice in Chains for me. Have you heard Fever 333?
No, but I know of them.
Yeah, Let Live. Did you like Let Live? Did you hear them?
Actually, sadly, never heard Let Live.
Right. Oh, okay. Check them out. But yeah, now the singers in Fever 333 and they're something else. Well worth a listen. James, you've been absolutely brilliant. It's been so good chatting to you, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
Thank you,
it means a lot to us. We can't wait to get this one online. You know, I think a lot of people are going to be interested by this.
Awesome.
We're going to get it out there as soon as we can.
Yeah,
get it edited and get it out.
Well done. Thanks for coming on, James.
Yeah,
absolutely, my pleasure, guys.
You've been a legend. Yeah. And let's start thinking about that UK date, because it will sell out and we'll be there.
Hey, message your guy at Donington.
I'll do it. I'm going to do it.
I just come.
Yeah,
100%.
Booked you.
I know. I don't understand it, because like you're this amazing band that have just released this piece of art. Oh, well, no, I wanted to ask you something else as well. The whole thing about Divine Comedy, was that you?
No, actually, it wasn't. It was Keith.
Okay.
Keith kind of had this idea after, we were halfway through the writing process.
Right.
And some of the lyrics already kind of fell in line with the concept. And then I just took the concept full-fledged from there and just went with it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The Peril of Sin, track 6.
Yes.
Is something else, isn't it? It's a beast.
I think it's fair to say it's his favourite.
Yeah.
That is
It's
my favourite track, and it's just, and it showcases so many different styles in one track. So many different styles of metal, I might add, and hardcore. But I love that track. And we blasted it through my Sonos before you came on.
Yeah.
so that's my favorite too, actually.
Oh, cool.
Mainly because it's something that I feel like we've never really done anything like that before.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've done like softer type songs, that have a vibe to them, but this is like totally different for us. It was definitely, I think, my favorite on the EP for sure.
Yeah, it's still brutal in places as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah, which was weird too, because I think initially we wanted more mellow vocals over the whole thing, and when I brought that to Keith, I think he was like surprised that I went, heavier with it when I did.
Right. Yeah.
As what I said to you earlier about this Inferno and the Peril of Sin, this style, this wow.
He wants a whole album of it. So if you definitely want to sell one album, do it next time.
I'm not allowed to say that, really, but I'm just saying that if you can follow that path of that track, it's going to be monumental.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good. What about? I keep thinking of more questions I want to ask you. I want to let you go.
All good, man.
The 2 songs you recorded from Vanity. What was the reason for that?
Yeah, so we just kind of wanted to. Well, we knew we were going to reissue the vinyl, and we just wanted to kind of explore a re-recording of those songs. Like, what would they sound like? What would those songs sound like in today's world, right?
Yeah.
And so that was Keith's kind of first attempt at like doing the whole like produce, mix, master thing himself. And thankfully, like those 2 songs kind of gave him a feel for, doing it and doing more songs. And I actually wanted to do the whole album, re-record the whole album.
Mm-hmm.
But for him as like a producer, I think he wanted to start working on the EP, which was totally fair.
Right. Okay. So, would you say you're not 100% happy with the production of Vanity in the first place, or you just feel like people needed to hear it how it would sound today?
Yeah, I think he had the idea to, hey, do you want to re-record a couple of songs for fun? And I was all about it. Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't think it was like, hey, we hate the original recording, or we don't like this or we don't like that. It's just like, hey, let's explore what those songs sound like, right now. What would we do with them right now? And, not changing a bunch. For me, vocally, if I can re-record anything that I've done in the past, I'm all about it, just because I know in 2020 I can make it sound better than I did 20 years ago. So
right. Yeah. I mean, it does sound fantastic. It sounds amazing.
Thanks.
I mean, but I love Vanity from back in the day. But it's interesting hearing it now.
You put it on earlier, didn't you?
Yeah.
You went, listen to this. They've re-recorded it. It was like, it's punchy.
It's beefy. It's got some.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, got some balls.
Yeah. So I mean, looking at that, it would be cool to re-record some other songs from the past too, as well. And maybe if time permits, that's something we'll do.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, there's always you can always improve on anything in your back catalogue, like you say. Like if your vocals feel stronger now, etc., you can always re-record. I mean, I think that's a great way of doing things and having things for like special releases, all that kind of stuff. I think that's really cool because people love those songs, don't they? And it's always good hearing remixes or different versions. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we're going to let you go now and stop hammering you with questions.
All right.
Yeah, once again, James, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for your
no problem, guys.
time. And
Thank you so much.
enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, thanks. You too. Thanks for supporting.
Cheers, mate.
Right.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.